Matt Carver is the dynamic founder and principal of Carver Real Estate, a boutique agency renowned for delivering exceptional results in Melbourne's competitive property market. With over 20 years of industry experience, Matt has built a reputation for his strategic approach and unwavering commitment to clients. Fluent in Mandarin and specializing in the Asian B2B sector, Matt has brokered some of Melbourne's most lucrative per square meter deals. A former top 100 amateur golfer globally, Matt's competitive edge and disciplined mindset have seamlessly transitioned into his real estate career. His experience in elite sports has honed his strategic thinking and resilience, qualities that he applies to every property deal. Beyond his professional achievements, Matt is deeply committed to creating lasting legacies through real estate. Whether buying, selling, or investing, Matt Carver offers unparalleled expertise and a client-first philosophy that sets him apart in the real estate landscape. Enjoy the podcast.
Matt, welcome to Everyday Heroes, the Kofkin Bond podcast. As you know, you are my hero.
Oh, thank you, Tony.
Yes, Vanessa made me say that.
I paid her lots to make her do it.
Well, the check did not bounce either. So thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you.
No, welcome to our podcast. It's we have become very good friends over the last few months since meeting each other, introduced by a very good mutual friend, Robert. So it's great to meet you. You're another gent like Robert who's very good at lifting heavy things repeatedly. In saying that, though, you weren't always like that. So, I mean, we've read out your bio, which is very impressive. But let's talk about the young boy from the back streets of Frankston. Tell our audience about the first 10 years of your life, because, you know, look at the first 7 years of the life and have a look at the man we've got today. Yep. The 31-year-old man.
Of course, yes. Let's keep those numbers down.
Yes.
It was a moving process when I was younger as a kid. Mum was a single mum, and she had two kids, my sister and I, who were 2 and 1 when she got divorced.
The eldest?
My sister's the eldest, Sally, and we moved everywhere. Mum did everything she could to survive. So she, once getting divorced, was a cleaner. She would clean people's houses. And I still have a visual memory of being in someone's house as a little kid. She'd give me the colouring book to keep me quiet, sort of thing.
Did it work? Because you love a chat.
Yeah, I think I just ended up talking to everyone and go outside. I think she lost me 10 times as talking to the neighbours' dogs. But she did what she could, and she did incredibly well with her career, which we'll chat about sort of later on. But we had to survive, I guess, was the first sort of part. So we lived, before the age of 10, I think I lived in 9 different houses. And that's anything from East St Kilda, Hampton, Alec, Ormond, and then we filtered down the peninsula towards Frankston. And we sort of steadied around that way, and Mum was travelling a lot in those days to do what she did. So I was your typical kid that was mad, Aussie rules, crazy Hawthorn supporter.
Justified of that.
Oh, over the top. I'm actually on Thursday night, the Hawthorn-Collingwood game. I've been asked by the cheer squad to hold up the banner that they run through.
Is it that big, is it? They can't do it.
I think it's going to be windy.
Okay.
So I put my hand up quite quickly for that. I'm crazy for footy, sports, all that sort of, whatever you possibly could. And then I got those years were just...
Can I ask a question there? Those first number of years, quite formative years, but how does a young boy go, you know, you've just named different suburbs that are all apart from each other, changing schools, making new friends, changing schools, having to make friends again. I mean, you're not a shy guy and you're unbelievably likable, but how does a young boy go to changing schools? And, you know, those who look at you now, you're a big fella, you're a big, strong fella, but you were quite
I was a little pipsqueak.
You were a little fella once upon a time.
I was very small, and I was very short too, so not even size. So I was always the second smallest kid in the school photo at the end of every year that they would have.
You're probably the skinniest, I'd say.
Small and skinny. It was a great match.
Yeah.
But I was always the one standing on the far side on the school photos because all the angles of all the kids went like that up to the middle. I was always on either that side or that side. So it was very difficult. I'd have to say that I didn't really attach to people a great deal when I was growing up, because if I went to a school, say like Ormond Primary, we were there for 6-7 months, and then we moved to another one. I went to Brighton Road in East St Kilda, and then another. So you almost learned not to get too attached to people, because we were moving so much. And again, Mum had to. She had to. It was how we sort of survived. But I think it was probably the great lead-in for me to a sport that is very much about solitude, which is golf. Golf is just you. It's you and a ball and a sky and green grass.
How old were you at this stage?
Probably 10.
Okay.
Yep. So 10 now.
So has Mum started her career at that stage?
She had.
Okay, because I was going to ask, so you see guys in the back streets of Frankston, which I think is where you're living at the time. Usually, if they've got a golf club, they're hitting someone with it. So
Yeah, you kept away from anyone with a golf club.
yeah. So how did this young skinny kid end up with a golf club in his hand of all things?
I got handed a set of clubs, but it was about half a set. So a set of clubs is 14.
That's because the only things you could lift.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Only one that anyone would give a kid from Frankston without worrying they were going to get stolen from us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I had about 7 sort of golf clubs, and it was that thing that a lot of golfers have at the start, that once you hit a golf ball and the feel goes through the club head and it goes through your arms, it's like an addiction, that feeling, the perfect forehand in tennis.
That feeling I've never felt.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. You've done that
Not in golf.
Great deal. Not in golf. Swimming, maybe.
Yeah.
And I got hooked. I got very hooked, and I didn't rely on anyone. So it was the opportunity for me to be by myself in my own space. So after school, I'd grab 3 clubs across the handlebars of the BMX, and I would ride all the way out to Baxter Sporting Ovals. I had a part one. We couldn't afford a mongoose, but I'd get bits. So I used to pull bikes apart and put them together. Might not have been my bikes, but sort of put a bike together. And I would go there after school until it was dark. And then even when it was dark, that was just when I'd go to pick up the balls. And the balls were these.
So down, I mean, what golf club down there? I think they have one down there in White Avenue, Mordialloc, or...
I started at a little place called Centenary Park, which was next to the Tip.
Yep.
McClellan Drive in Frankston.
Yeah.
So when you arrived there to play golf or whatever you had to do for the day, or however you could get there, you came home at the end of the day and you stunk like the Tip. The Tip was literally next door.
And that was just a normal park. That wasn't a golf course.
Public golf course.
Oh, it was, yeah.
A little public golf course. So we lived 8 kilometres. So I used to, in the school holidays and the like, I used to ride my bike with one hand on the handlebar and the other hand behind me, holding the golf buggy for 8 kilometres. It took me an hour each way, each day. And I wouldn't leave until it was dark. And I was riding in the back streets, pitch black at night, because I wanted every bit of sunlight, any chance at a golf ball.
So back then, did they just see the kid turning up in his BMX every day, or did you have a coach? Could you afford a coach? Or
couldn't afford a coach.
Yeah. So you're self-taught? I mean, they didn't have YouTube back then.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, we aren't 31. I think most listeners know that. So it's
never had personal computers.
Yeah.
No, very much self-taught. I got a couple of books and magazines and tried to copy, and of course you feel like you're doing it and it looks nothing like it. So I probably didn't have originally, I had a pretty ungainly looking sort of golf swing, but I knew how to just repetition, like any sort of sport. And then Mum got me a couple of lessons. Next to my golf course was a very posh place called Peninsula Golf Club. And the head professional is a guy called David Good, who's a very good player himself, very good player, exceptional player. And I had a few lessons with him to get a feel of it, but then I was left to my own. And so while I was sort of just finding my way, I just got the gist of it very quickly. I won the Victorian Junior Championship, which is for under 21, at 15 with 7 clubs, and they were all mixed. All the rich kids from all the other golf courses, mum and dad's driver and the most beautiful golf clubs and everything matched and aligned and perfect. I mean, I cleaned the crap out of those 7 clubs, but they were just...
I mean, if I can touch on that, golf is not a cheap sport. So I've had a very good friend of mine, and a very good friend of mine, his 3 children are all great golfers. So the 2 boys are par golfers. Shay, who works here, he's up in our Sydney office. He's a par golfer. Their baby sister is the world amateur champion. She won at 18 and ended up getting a scholarship at Iowa State over in the US.
You mentioned.
But I do know that, so our nickname for Shay, knows a par golfer, is the caddy.
Yeah,
he's his sister's caddy. That's right. So it's, but it's really interesting because I know how expensive that was. for Dad with all their golf lessons. I mean, the 3 kids were all so disciplined in respect to getting up early and training, things like that. Not just naturals, they put so much effort and so much work into it. But it was expensive. Their coaches, getting out every morning, the memberships, etc. No, so how does, once again, you got 7 clubs, you're cleaning them, you're looking after them, you didn't really, had some lessons, didn't really have, say, a permanent coach at that stage, I'm assuming.
Nothing at all.
How does this kid all of a sudden come out, or is it just a case of you're a hard worker and naive and you're prepared to put in more effort than the others?
I think those 3. I think a lot of put in effort, but I think sometimes when they were born with the silver spoon, they probably didn't push it as hard. So I would be 15 years of age and my hands had bled all the way through. I'd ripped all the skin off from just hitting ball after ball. Didn't have gloves. My gloves, quite regularly, you'd wear out the thumb on a golf club, so I had to put Band-Aids around it so that it was... I like coming from that. I like coming from that to begin with because it made you appreciate all of the progress and steps you're going up. It eventually got me noticed with these sort of things. And the Woodlands Golf Club in Mordialloc, they came to me and offered me like a member's sort of scholarship to represent the club. And
Sit down White Avenue there.
White Street.
White Street,
Yep,
Mordialloc.
in the back there.
Yep.
Beautiful golf course.
Yeah.
And it was like a kid in Candyland for me to see manicured, Centenary Park, sometimes you wake up in the morning and they had to wait 10 minutes because there was a drunk guy passed out in the bunker by the first green. They got to clear him all out, wait for the cops. Whereas Woodlands was just flawless. It was most beautiful. And I think it opened my eyes. It made me want more. And they had these beautiful lights in the clubhouse that used to overshine the putting green. So I could actually practice for 2 hours after it was dark. And I had a great relationship with the golf professional there, a fellow called Peter Tamblin. And I got a part-time sort of job and work in there. And he'd go home for the day at work at 6 o'clock. And I was 16 and I had the keys to the shop. And I used to go in there, get all the clothes that were on sale, make a bed out of them all. And I used to sleep on the floor in his golf shop just so I could wake up at 5 o'clock before anyone was around to hit more golf the next day. Didn't go home. Mum was like, yeah, I know where he is. So she's not safe. He's sleeping.
Well, no, once again, Gen Xers, it's just a case of I could be gone for 4 days and turn up and Mum will go, oh, where you been? So that was it. Yeah, I was probably 12. Stuck in a drain, Mum.
All right now. But it was exciting. It was exciting. I mean, I used to eat all these Mars bars in the shop. That was my dinner for the night because I couldn't afford, to go get some food or anything.
Do you think it's a case of that you were so, you could talk Mars bars, but hungry for success because nothing was handed to you on a platter? You didn't take anything for granted. Everything was just like, wow, look at this opportunity I've just been given.
Yeah. And it was through Peter Tamblin at Woodlands I got my first set of matching golf clubs. Or just the irons are all the same. And I still remember it, more so than any sort of nice cars or houses sort of since, and appreciate it to a great response because it gave me a start. Well, I've now got a level playing field with all of these other kids that you're playing with each week. Now what can I do? And so I made the...
It sounds a bit like the Kobe Bryant attitude of you just outworked everyone.
Yeah.
You just constantly outworked everyone.
Any profession, workplace, sports, whatever you've got to, even Tiger Woods, when he was at the peak of the world, his hands were just a mess. He'd hold up his hands and calluses all cut through. If you lose that work ethic, and I think that work ethic comes, especially when you're young, it's just an absolute passion for something. And it was crazy. It was like a drug. It was like an addiction. I just had to hit more golf balls, or a thought would come into my mind of what I was doing. If I corrected that, well, I've got to go out. And I used to even, when I was coming home, a golf course near us, by then we'd moved up to Aspendale, was Rossdale Golf Course. I used to sneak on their golf course at midnight because I'd have something come into my mind with my golf swing and I'd wait to see if the moon was out. If the moon was out, I'd get about 150 metres out, literally at midnight, and hit golf balls for an hour or 2 hours before going back to sleep. Wow. It was like a drug. It's very much becomes part of you. So I've from there made the Victorian senior state team, which is with all the Robert Allenbys and Stuart Applebys and Richard Greens. And I was the poor kid in the team. And I was probably the lowest level of all of those sort of guys.
How old were you at this stage?
19.
So you finished school at this stage?
Yes. I couldn't get out of school quick enough. I was the classic report card, could do so much better if he stopped distracting the whole class and trying to be the joker. They could have written in the modern day there's something to do with, it could be a really good career in sales here somewhere or other, or people skills. But no, it was just distracting. I've still got bruises in my head from the duster at school when the teacher would piff the duster at you.
Yeah, I think my grade 4 teacher wrote in my school report something like, I used to think Tony was mesmerised by my class. I couldn't quite understand it, but then I realised he's just good at sleeping with his eyes open.
I think I might have been there with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
School was a sufferance to pay at that time to me. I was just looking out the window,
Holding you back from what you wanted to do and
what I
what you
wanted
were
to
good
do.
at. Yeah.
Yeah, what I was getting somewhere with. So, and it was at that sort of point where a lot of them turned professional immediately, the Stuart Applebys and Robert Allabys, and I just wasn't quite ready. And that's where that next stage of the golf career sort of came into play.
So you went off to Europe at this stage as an amateur?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're based in the UK?
Yes,
Whereabouts?
in London. I was in the bottom right-hand corner, in between Bromley and Sevenoaks.
Okay, yeah.
A little place called, what was it called? Sevenoaks.
Mm.
So there's Sevenoaks in Surrey. There's a little
Yeah.
tiny one
Yep.
in there. And I loved England. I fell in love with it. And once I got there, some sense of being...
You're 19, 20 at this stage?
21?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
A sense of being over there came and elevated my golf game to another level because I didn't have the pressures from people at home. I didn't have the having to fight my way up. Sort of, I was starting from scratch in a new...
Financially at this stage, though, you're an amateur golfer.
My partner at the time and we lived in a camper van. We spent a few months doing the typical Aussie bar work thing that you do around London to save some pennies. And we bought, was called Beryl the Bus. And Beryl was held together by the rust. The rust actually held it together and had a little cooker in it. It had a fold-out bed. And I was able to...
Everything a young boy needs.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah, that's right.
Was it?
A kitchenette and a bed.
That was quite exciting.
Yeah.
And my partner at the time, she wanted to travel, and...
Sounds like the golf clubs are more expensive than the camper van.
By this stage, they were.
Yes.
By this stage, they were. I think Beryl cost £600.
Okay.
So she didn't break down. She made a lot of noises, but she never let us down. And I walked into a golf club there called West Kent Golf Club. And I walked in there and saw the manager just, listen, I've just landed here. I'm going to be very successful. I can't afford to be your member of your golf club. But if you give me membership and use of your facilities, I'll put West Kent Golf Club beside my name on everything I do and do very well. And I had this lovely fellow, his name was Paul, was the manager. And he looked at me with this smirk across his face. And I think he started with his first bloody Aussies. And he said yes. And the club said yes. And within 3 months, I'd won one of the 4 largest amateur tournaments in the world.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. It was my first sort of real step forward. And that little club, West Kent.
Before they said yes, did they make sure you could hit a ball?
They never checked. I think the confidence, the sales.
Yeah.
I think I wooed them that way.
Yeah.
But when I'd won that first tournament and came back, which was very well known and was on the news and things over there was 100 of the members did a Sunday afternoon thing, opened the bar, and they were so proud to have someone from their club. And one other member from West Kent had won it. It's called the Lytham Trophy, Royal Lytham St Anne's, which is a British Open course, had won it, and he won it in 1887 on the trophy.
Oh, wow.
On the trophy.
Yeah.
So it was 100.
So this would have been around 91 or 92.
And it really gave me this lovely feel of people and community. And it just went tenfold from there. It was very quick. It was winning major tournaments or close to, representing England, because my dad's English. So I got the call from Australia and I went, you had your chance. You've missed that chance.
Mm-hmm.
Going to play for England. And did proudly. So
you're still an amateur at this stage?
Amateur?
But you're able to play in Pro-Ams?
Yes.
You played in the British Open, didn't you?
I played in the British Open.
Yeah.
So my teammates went on to amazing careers. A guy called Luke Donald, who's captain of the Ryder Cup in America this year. It was number 1 in the world. He said that he's the only person that's ever knocked Tiger Woods off from being number 1 that wasn't involved in injury, accident, or certain appendages on his body getting in the way of his career.
Okay, yes.
My other teammate back then is a fellow called Justin Rose, who's still top 10, 15 in the world now, got on wonderful careers. So And they were my juniors. I was actually number one within 6 months. I was the number one for England, travelling and played Tiger Woods, beat Tiger Woods one-on-one.
That's a 30-second clip just there.
Now, even played 9 holes with Donald Trump. Bill Clinton, played with Bill Clinton.
Really?
Yeah. So a lot of those sort of people. Tony Blair, played with Tony Blair. And it was exciting. It was exciting. But I think going back to the core where you started, I was very appreciative. I didn't come from all of that just to expect it and want more and become a brat.
You're still an amateur, but you're playing in the pro-ams at this stage. Are you allowed to earn anything from golf, or is it just the free clubs, the free unit? I mean, I saw the blazer you had when you won one of their things, and it's just like, geez, someone's just given you a blazer way too big.
My England blazer.
Yeah.
You did, but it wasn't recognised, so that now amateurs can accept monies. Back then it wasn't.
Yeah.
So there was a lot under here that was done. So in getting ready to turn professional, my sponsors had all sort of lined up. I had a manager by then. Lexus was one of them. Emirates.
Wow.
Lexus, Emirates, Adidas, Spalding's my equipment. And they were all giving you gifts to get you ready to sign your contract, because you couldn't sign the contract until the day you were professional, because if they got out, you poop everywhere. So a lovely long list of sponsors. Emirates was 2 business class tickets anywhere, any time in the world. At the airport we landed, there was a brand new Lexus, just like the movie, where you walk through and the Lexus is there, or there's a driver if you want to drive, if you the crazy parts of Europe where they drive on the other side of the road.
Yes, yep.
Adidas was just boxes of clothes. But one of the nice things that I'm proud of back then was I didn't lose track of the little people that were around me going up. So the boxes of clothes from Adidas, I used to pick out a few things, rebox it and send it back to all your mates in Australia, because, $60, $80, whatever, for a shirt or pants or whatever. And so I'd give them all of my sort of kit to take what I sort of liked out of it. So they were wonderful. Everybody wants a piece of you.
So some now, I think it's roughly 28 years ago, everything changed.
Yeah.
For you. It's one of those pieces of fate that, your entire life, everything you did, turning left rather than turning right, you ended up in
sliding doors.
Your sliding doors. You ended up in a place where your rest of your life, your career, with no professional contracts, ended.
Gone. Yep. I'd turned professional, just broken the top 100 in the world. I just finished the very top few in the French Open. And the week after, we were at Porto Venus in Spain, right down the bottom. One of those beautiful outside paella type sort of restaurants. And there's a long straight stretch along there that goes for about 500 metres each way. And sitting there with all these people, you heard this noise coming from the right, and it was a car going excessively loud, and there was police cars, everyone chasing it behind like a movie scene. And when these things happen, we just get caught, just watching it as it all unfolds. Near we were sitting.
So it wasn't the president coming through with the...
No, it was a little old shit.
Yeah.
And he was running from the police very quickly, sort of 120 clicks in a 40 zone. And just near us was a roundabout, and he couldn't get around the roundabout, hit the roundabout, got airborne, and we just literally just sitting there in slow motion and just watched this car land on us, about 20. Killed 2 people. People lost arms, people lost legs, as I was supposed to do. A lot of, mental health issues and the like. So I lost most of my right knee, which at the time I didn't know because I was in a coma. And I was very fortunate because, as they do in Spain, if an arm or a leg's not working,
take it off.
I cut it off. So Mick Doohan, the famous motorbike rider, he nearly had the same thing. He was going to chop his leg off. My manager got wind of it, and he sent a private jet straight there from London, flew me to Bristol in Western England, which is the main neurological hospital ward type sort of place. I was still in a coma, and came out a couple of weeks later, and leg was sideways, other little complications and the like that. But I survived. I lived, and I'm fortunate. I do say that to this day, as I've said to you, because people died or they had permanent disability, and mine is permanent for a golf career, but it doesn't mean that I can't walk down the street, talk to people, act as a normal everyday person. Sure, I still have scars mentally, what I could have had, what it could have been, and everything like that. But I ended up being quite lucky, I like to think. But the golf career was done.
Having a knee injury, not to your extent, and not by having a car land on top of me, end my career where I never thought there was any reason to think of anything else as a career. Your career had actually just taken you off. I was just a B grade professional who was good at getting sponsorship because I could talk. So it's I wasn't necessarily good at winning any races.
No doubt of that.
Yeah, it was not necessarily good at winning any races though. But I would have assumed you would not have had any thought process whatsoever of what am I going to do after my golf career. You're 22, the world is your oyster. Tiger Woods has got nothing on you,
No.
so it's you just professional. You got and in a sport that if you are good, you make real money.
Correct.
So real money. All of a sudden, that's ended. I mean, surely and I know we can look back things now and say I got through it, but surely there must have been a period there where depression would have set in. What am I going to do now? I don't know what I'm going to do now. Give mum a call. I'm coming home. What did you go through at that stage?
It was very tough. It was very tough. I did have the best Harley Street in London medical specialists, which is pretty much the best in the world, to try to help repair, recover. Sports contracts that level, they all give you 6 months, and it's based on permanent disability. And so they drop you one after the other, the Adidas, the Emirates, and they'll leave you. And it did hit me quite hard mentally. I'm thankful at the time that when it happened that social media didn't exist, because I was the person that would walk down the street and if someone wanted an autograph, I'd give them an autograph. Or 10 people wanted to chat or they wanted to come to where you're eating and say hello, whatever, grab a seat, did the whole works. So I would have hated to have been one of these 5 million followers because the amount of people that I did know or surrounded or connected to, you disappear. You disappear and it is like that scenario where you're falling down, that we get in our dreams that you're falling. And it was very much what happened. And I did fall mentally.
I did a cull each year of my 500 followers. Which one's okay? Can I start to cull now? Or 500 of them. So.
What's about what I got down to? It went about 5 million to 500. But no, it was particularly difficult. I did spend probably the next 12 months taking substances that I shouldn't.
Yep.
It did result in that 12 months of spending 6 months as a stripper. And I actually enjoyed it because you were in people's sort of focus. People were attentive to you. And I'd gotten used to that. I'd gotten used to having 10,000 people standing around you, hushed silence while you're hitting a golf ball. And you becomes part of you. It becomes part of what you like. So it was a very difficult 12 months. And then eventually, as you said, I just decided to come home.
Yeah.
It was too much. I'd earned a bit of money from the golf, which was great. And I say a bit of money, it's not in the modern days, but boy, the back of Frankston, it was money.
Yeah.
And I came home and mum by then had made an amazing career of herself. And I'm incredibly proud. She had one of the largest sort of recruitment business in the city by then. And she lived on the beach at Aspendale. So literally outside the window, you saw all of the bay and the sand was up against the door and you could see the weather coming in up through the bay. And I spent 6 months probably surfing on her couch with friends over or heading out. And she loved having me home. She was a great mum at being there and empathetic to what I'd gone through.
Yeah.
But after about 6 months, it became time that I sort of had to do something. And what was I going to do with the career? Otherwise, I'd just be stuck.
Yep.
So I picked up an interest in health and fitness. Part of the rehabilitation really did it. So when the golf happened, I was actually about 26. I was 62 kilos.
Yeah.
As naturally. So I'm naturally an ectomorph, skinny pin. And the rehabilitation had built into me this enjoyment of mobility, movement and strength and weight training. And I think elite sports people, when you become very strong with a passion to something, if that's taken from you as mine was, you channel it to somewhere else.
You find something else, yeah.
Yep. And so
absolutely.
mine then became quickly about my body.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. And I loved seeing the change. And
mine was, what can I do in the suit? Yes, I've been wearing Lycra and Speedos my whole life. What can I do in a suit?
I think you've done that pretty well though, my friend.
Thank you.
And I had one day, I had a friend, Phil Porsonides, used to play for Carlton in the VFL. He proudly tells me, I remember it was a Trivial Pursuit question, who kicked the most goals in a grand final in VFL, but it was the reserves or something.
Okay.
He had a gym in Albert Park, and he said, Matt, you've got this, whatever it is, you've got this. And his gym was sort of struggling with his membership consultants, and the trainers weren't learning how to be a business. He said, can you come and chat? And about 5 months I was there and helped them to double their membership.
Yeah.
Teach trainers how to, just through people skills,
Yeah.
sell themselves, make themselves the like. And his gym was flying.
Okay.
Until I had that one night on a Friday night when I had a lady walk into the gym.
Let's go back to the gym, because one of our guests last week, Lucas, you met him at the gym. He was a personal trainer. Lucas is a huge success, and
Yes, he is.
and I know joined the real estate industry maybe with a bit of encouragement from somebody who I'm sitting across from now as well. But Lucas is, he's a personal trainer, lovely guy, absolutely, as we both know. You're there, you're teaching these personal trainers how to actually sell and how to motivate to get the best out of their clientele.
Marketing.
Yeah, so it is. I'll use this as an example, and I won't mention the gym, but it was just one of the 24-hour ones that I was a member of down in my suburb. And there was a personal trainer there, nice enough guy, but he was seriously overweight. No muscle on him, seriously overweight. And he would approach people in the gym about, and he had a few people that he looked after, but from a marketing perspective, I would look at him aesthetically, and even though I'm a bigger guy who could drop a couple of kilos, still got 7 or 8 to go, but I would look at him and think, I don't know if you could be my personal trainer. Are they conversations that you've had to have with some personal trainers as well, or? Yeah,
Absolutely. I
be
think
like a financial planner that doesn't take investment seriously.
correct.
Yeah,
Or even your depth of knowledge,
Yeah.
or you're not presenting it.
yeah.
You're a financial planner, and then you sit in front of someone and you start talking about real estate perspective rather than diversification.
I was no real estate. I'll view there.
Yeah.
So it's we'll touch on that in a moment. But it's but from that perspective, how do you? Because you are a lovely, lovely guy, but how do you have those delicate conversations with people at times as well?
One of the first things, and this came even from there to the real estate and staff, is getting a feel of the person that's in front of you as much as you can before you actually start to either instruct or help or benefit. So who is this person? What are they looking to do? Are they genuine? Are they sincere? Are they filling in time before something else? You've got to put all these things together quite quickly. And I found one of the strongest things that I learned quickly is that people, generally their favourite topic to talk about is themselves.
Absolutely.
So if you ask people questions,
How to win friends and influence people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly what he talks about.
I learned quite quickly to ask questions, because a person, whether they're an extrovert or an introvert, will be sitting across from you, they've got something to say or not to say. But if you ask questions, they have to respond. If you make statements, you push people from you. Questions pull, statements push. And you could get a real good sense of people by enabling a number of questions, like I did to Bella when I first came in here, about them, their lives, and who they are. And you get a feel for what they're like.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you can see what their potential is, what their limitations are. But I always look for capabilities. Capabilities in an individual is something which I think initially is lost. And it certainly wasn't when I started in real estate.
Yeah.
It was a phone, a desk, a pen, go and bring in business.
Yes. Yep.
It's evolved greatly with trainers and coaches, but
Yeah.
it's getting the feel of people, understanding them so that there's a like-minded conversation of what they want, but also if they're beneficial for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the trainers, exactly as you said, I'd have to gently have that conversation. If you have this client, what would you want that client to be in 6 months or 12 months? What are their goals? Are they going to do it?
But where did you learn that skill?
I
You
think
were out there playing golf?
I think it's. I
No
think
one's allowed to talk when you
yeah.
play golf.
No, I've
Yeah.
spent silence for years.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to put it back to a level of genetics from my mother her recruitment business with no education, as I said, an orphan on the street at 14, and very successful recruitment. It's people skills. It's talking. It's communicating. And I remember...
Well, she had to do it to survive. She had a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was
she actually had to do that just to survive. Yep.
I remember when we were growing up, my sister, my mum and I, my mum was always talking. She was always talking. And then she'd come home and be upset because my school reports could do so much more if he wasn't talking in class. Mum, that was you. And I remember...
My mum used to tell me, don't you ever smoke while she's puffing on her 50th cigarette for the day. So don't you ever dare smoke. It'll kill you. Thanks, Mum. So it's, yep.
And I think a lot of it was ingrained. It was ingrained, whether it's genetics or whether it's ingrained into me. And I was a sponge growing up for information, people, details. My sister still stirs me because I remember everything.
But you still learn, well, first of all, by asking questions. If you're genuinely interested in the answers, you will remember. And if you're anything like me, that's, I like, even when it comes to, say, education, I remember a lot more by being involved, practice, and actually being shown rather than reading a book. That's probably why school bored us so much. But I love remembering people's names. I love remembering what people do. I know somehow where I first met them. And when I first met them, I know what they're wearing. So there's these things. I don't know how I do it. It just comes naturally to me. But you seem to have those same traits as well.
Yeah.
But it's interesting though, because you're still talking to these people about the trainers, getting them to ask questions, not say, "Hi, I'm Matt. I'm the best trainer in here. Look."
Yeah.
So it's
look good, but it's not going to deliver.
No, that's right. So it's a case of that. Once again, you're teaching them something that you just know naturally, not something that you've necessarily been taught.
No, there's no education for it. It's something which I think, if we go back to the trainers and even with staff in real estate afterwards, they're instructional areas. A trainer says, do that, lift that, don't eat that, so forth. But that doesn't bring you business. That doesn't grow your client base. That doesn't extend your capability. You need to be able to do that in a module where the person is completely trusting of you. But to do that, you've got to have been questioned. You've got to pull them in. As you're saying, the names and detail, rapport building. When you speak of someone that you saw, Sharon, I saw you 10 years ago, how was the dog going back then? How long did it last? They're going to remember you. They're tied to you. They're almost committed to you because you're showing a sense of care, and everybody loves that. And it's pretty much my whole career from the short time there and then in real estate is association.
Well, let's touch on real estate from that perspective. You met a woman or a woman spoke to you at the gym.
Yes.
So it's, I'm sure it happened a lot.
Well, this was a mature age lady.
Yes. So it's, but she spoke to you about the gym. What, were you wasting your time? No, it wasn't quite that. It was about her gym membership, I believe.
It was a gym membership. She came in, her name was Jill.
Mm-hmm.
And she came to this gym late on a Friday night, and everybody had gone, barring me and the receptionist. And she came in with a very strong presence.
Yeah. Now, you at that time, you're managing the gym. Yeah, so you're not necessarily a trainer. I know you love to train, but you weren't necessarily a trainer, but you were managing the gym. So she came in and she spoke to you.
Well, there was no one there. And the receptionist said, well, I don't want to see anyone. I want to see the manager. And she said, my husband and I, we've just bought the penthouse across the road on St Kilda Road. So immediately it's association on personality type, character and the like. And her favourite flavour was Jill. And so I came out and she said to me, listen, I just want to see what this place is about. The lady's probably about 50 years of age at this time.
So young.
Yes. Now, just a kid. And she said, I want to see what this place is about. And so, you're not getting $1 out of me. This is what I said. About 3 hours later, she rang me at home, late. And I picked it up. I said, hello? It's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And her first words, excuse my language. She said, first words, is that Matt? Yes. She goes, fuck, you're good. And I said, sorry? She said, fuck, you're good. I said, what do you mean?
Can I get a bit more context here?
Yes.
Firstly, what's your name? Where did we meet?
I was on the way to becoming a first dad by then too. That's one of your second time.
Yeah.
And she said, well, I'm looking at my credit card statement here, and you've got me for $3,500. Now, this was 1999, so $3,500 was
There's a membership.
$10,000. I signed her up. I got a beauty treatment, personal trainer. She mentioned the 17-year-old daughter that ate too much. We signed her up too. The personal trainer, the husband smoked too much, got him up, got him in with a smoking technician that was going to come and get him off. And she said, after a pause, you're wasting your skills. And I said, what do you mean? She said, you shouldn't be doing this. There's another career based for you. And again, a bit of prodding. And she said, my husband owns the largest real estate agency in Williamstown. You should be in real estate. And I said to her, Jill, I don't know a house from a flat she said, no, that doesn't matter. I said, no, but I don't know documents. No, you are meant to be in real estate. And I agreed to go and meet her husband, Chris Angorius, is one of the most beautiful men I've ever met in the industry. And he took me in like a father sort of figure. As a Greek fellow, always had a cigarette in his gob. You'd walk into his office. And
so that membership didn't work in respect to him stopping smoking.
No, the smoking didn't stop. I left the gym there, so you couldn't get me for swimming.
Yeah.
And he took me in. And I immediately fell in love with this man as a father sort of figure, not having really had one growing up. And he showed me the ways of real estate and got me started. And it was, as I said before, it was still, there's a desk, there's a phone, you bring in business, you've got 3 months, or someone else sits there. And so I found the only way. I didn't even know where Williamstown was when I first went there.
What are you at this stage?
28.
Okay. So Williamstown's probably starting to turn around at that stage and be, as the
Melbourne market was about to go.
Yeah, okay.
1999 sort of thing. Yep. And all the sales staff at the Weather were elderly gentlemen, and they didn't like having a young guy come through with a bit of bravado and the like. So,
handsome young guy, mate.
No. Skinny.
Yeah.
Couldn't talk to anyone. That's my client. My daughter went to school with their daughter. And so how do you succeed? How do you actually do? And it's the main thing that we hear from everybody when it starts in sales. You've got to do the hardest yard you can. So I would just get up and say, okay, what street's that? I'm going to go knock on everyone's door. And I go knock on someone's door and look at them and say, do you want to sell your house? I need you to sell your house. And I started getting these people and the members of the meetings and the staff. How did you get that place? Where did you get that place? Did you fill in your authority properly? I think so. No idea. But Chris, he'd just sit there with this Angorius, this lovely little smile on his face, feeling proud. And so
lighting up another Marlboro.
Yeah. And I was creating business out of nothing when everybody is generally scared. That fear of failure. That fear of failure. People avoid it like there's no tomorrow. There's a brilliant real estate guy, same sort of age. He's a very athletic fellow called Matt Steinwade in, I think he's near Terrigal, near Gosford. And he started the same sort of thing. And he realized the same path was you're not going to get given anything. And he still teaches his staff to this day. You go knock on doors. What's the worst thing anyone can say to you? No. That's it. All they can say is no.
You just sound like my father.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Dad used to say.
The worst thing anyone can say.
And you got a better chance if you ask politely. He would add that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I got to the point where I really wanted it. So, please, can I sell your house? I would talk to another agent. Oh, can I be that person? Or how do I become that person so you don't need to talk to that person again?
Yeah.
What can I possibly do?
Yeah.
And it just filters. And it filters and grows and filters and grows. And it's that 80-20 rule. You need to contact 100 people so that 80 can reject you so you can get your 20 to accept you. Well, I learned quite quickly how to actually beat the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
Instead of getting rejected by 80 people, get rejected by 800 people. Because then 200 people have accepted you.
Yeah.
And people see your 200 points of business, not the 800 rejections. And they don't see the 20 acceptances, they see the 200. And so it took off very quickly.
Well, my first original mentor in this industry, Robin Daubeny, passed away last year. Robin taught me when I was young, similar. Didn't have the network, didn't have the friends as a young fella, younger than 28. And it was a case of that, well, if you have to ask 100 people and you're getting those 20 forms filled out, those 20 forms, you're getting your 10 appointments, et cetera, Tony, start celebrating the no's. Because
Yeah.
every time somebody as long as you've gone and done everything you can, every time somebody says no to you, you're one step closer to that yes. And that's his thought. Always celebrate the no's, celebrate the failures, because those failures are getting you closer to the success you want, which is far better than someone who's never failed but never tried. And these were just the constants that you got from Robin. And it was a case of, and you did. It was just like, yeah, but it was, as you said, well, if I want 200, well, then I ask 1,000.
And you know what? Even anyone that's across the platforms of sales these days that are scared of failure or don't want the rejection.
Or don't like being uncomfortable in an uncomfortable position. It's just the story of our lives.
It is. And it's
Yeah.
more prevalent. People are wanting things without having to do it as much, I think, these days.
Spontaneous gratification, I think, is what we call that generation.
Yep. Dopamine fix.
Mm.
But if you don't go knock on someone's doors or you don't pick up the phone and ask them for business, how many people give you business? None.
Correct.
There's nothing. There's
Yeah.
nothing there. So rather than sitting there waiting for business to come to you and not progressing or doing anything, you have to seek, as you said, rejection. The more rejection, the closer to the next yes, the closer to the next acceptance, next transaction, next client. And a client, if you do well with your work as well, they become a client of another client of another client. We just auctioned, as you know, a couple of weeks ago for a lady, and I put her into the place 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Moved to Tasmania, never forgot me. Just from the silly chats and things that we had, I probably could have done a lot better at keeping in communication with her down the path. But I trust you, Matt. I trust what you're saying. I trust what you're doing, and they're your greatest rewards.
Well, you went into the traditional form of real estate being agency to start with, and then you end up having your own agencies under which brand was it?
Wilson Pride.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember the Wilson Pride brand?
Wilson Pride and Hocking Stewart. They were the two big ones.
Green and red. Where Wilson
No,
Pride?
we were the water and sand. So we were blue like the deep water,
Okay.
and
Yep.
beige like the sand, and Hocking Stewart was red and white.
Yeah, red and white. Yeah.
So we were the two. We were the Maccas and KFC in every suburb. There was
Okay.
one everywhere for competition.
Yeah.
And my ex-wife and I did the big sea change. She wanted to live on the water at Torquay. She was a Queensland girl, and the ocean sort of called for her. So I opened up offices in Geelong and Torquay, and I went in with a business partner who ran Torquay,
What year was this?
and I ran Geelong. We're up to about 2003.
Yeah, so Torquay is really starting to not just be a surf town now for a holiday town. It's starting to,
Staggering.
yeah, it's really starting to take off. Those estates are starting to be built.
And the big Coles.
Well, I suppose Billabong and Ripco have now listed, so everyone's working and earning good money. And
Yep. It was developing by the moment, as you were saying. So there's a bit more sort of house and land. There was a bit more sort of lifestyle change. It wasn't a transient place just for holidays, like people saying I could live here and find ways to do it. And as the technological world came into place and people could actually work from different domains rather than
people were working in Geelong, living in Torquay is great. It's only a 15-minute drive away.
Good. So I went in with a business partner. I ran Geelong. He ran, which was our base.
Geelong's established at that stage.
Yes. So I bought a couple of smaller companies in there and their rent rolls at that time. And I'd made the one mistake, probably we're talking about diligence. My business partner, I'd always looked up as being a highly intelligent, which he was and probably still is, man. But he didn't have that work ethic of the kid that wanted to hit the golf balls in the dark till his hands bled. He didn't stand there under the pressure of 10,000 people, and he had a mindset where everything will just take care of itself. He was like your classical Torquay surfer. Within 12 months of 50 offices, I had Geelong in its first year as number 5 in the entire group.
Okay.
And he had Torquay at number 49.
Okay.
And people would ring.
Torquay is a growing suburb.
And it's growing. It had all the possibilities in the world. But he would, as soon as the swell was up, he was gone. Surfboard, gone. Man, you could meet.
You're quite a good surfer.
He wanted me too.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he did it.
Okay.
But everything from that office coming back to me to have to deal with Geelong. And by that stage, we had 3 kids under 4.
Okay.
Starting a brand new office in a new place, 15 staff very quickly. So you're parenting all of these staff, you're tutoring all of these staff. You've got a wife that is wondering why you're leaving at 6 a.m. and coming in at 7 or 8 at night.
Working weekends.
And Saturday is your day. I quite regularly do 7 options in a row.
Yeah.
So it was a difficult time. I still loved it, but it became quite clear that I had to get out of that business agreement and relationship, and we really wanted to move back up to Hawthorn where we were before.
Yeah.
And it was about setting up for the schools for the kids and that time of the life.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll move back to Melbourne.
Yes.
Did you stay in agency or did you start your own business at that stage?
I started my own under a franchise, which was Biggin and Scott. Lovely group, very communal sort of group.
Very well-known group in Hawthorn.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's, yep.
And I opened the office in Baldwin, which was an immediate eye-opener because I'd done the demographics based more so on sales, transaction turnover, and business potential. I bought a little business, little LJ Hooker office out there, but I'd missed the one fundamental for Baldwin to begin a business.
Ni hao ma?
And that was that I didn't speak Mandarin. And the growth of that corridor through there was extraordinary. So I learnt quite quickly that I had to go to night school and learnt Mandarin. Mandarin clients are fascinating. They still probably make up 40% of my business. And by showing an empathetic sense of communicating in quite poor Mandarin, you're welcomed. You are brought in. You are appreciated so much more, because I find that Mandarin clients want to talk and deal with Aussies and the like, but they find us intimidating.
I just have to apologise to my tutor, Ellie, the way I just said that. Ni hao ma. So she would just... You said that like an Australian. So
And you get your tones.
Oh, yeah, that's how it's...
And even then, I'd tell you to abbreviate ni hao. It's more like
Ni hao.
nay than a courteous hello.
She.
Yeah.
So probably
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But it was wonderful. It was a great learning experience, and it gave me...
And I do like my Beijing KO.
Well, there you are.
Yeah, so
Ordering is the secret.
yeah. Mapo Duffle's quite good too, actually. Yeah. I can order what I can say.
Missing out on the good part of the menu. And it did lead me to one of the awards that I'm most passionate, proud of, that I still speak to this day, is that I'm the only auctioneer in Victoria ever to be fined by Consumer Affairs for auctioning a property in a foreign language.
Is that right?
True. I was fined $250 for auctioning in front of 700 people, of which probably 650 were Mandarin, who at the completion gave me a 5-minute standing ovation, and I picked up about 10 new clients and $1 million plus a business.
$150 was worth it.
Hello, Consumer Affairs, ring me again. I'll tell you what I'll do in the next one. Great marketing.
Yeah, wow.
And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the mix and the culture of the people and the diversification, because they're very wealthy.
Yes.
Quite private. But once you are in the sanctum, even the smallest component, the level of trust is extraordinary, so that if a brother or a friend or a cousin, you ring Matt, you talk to Matt. And I love that. I love that in my work now. In our Cub group, our core group the other night, one of the group that we've met for the last 3 months came to the end and said, Matt, I've got a property in Thornbury. He didn't say, can you sell it? He said, would you sell it for me? And I immediately turned to him and said, I have to. You're part of Cub. We're family. We do everything we can for each other. And I said, it doesn't become about 100%. It becomes 110. Yeah. I have to do it. And it will be me. It's not going to be I said to him, it's not going to be my staff, my juniors, anything like me. I'll be there doing every little bit. So
yes. Yep. So you've got a successful career, but you then went and decided to, still in real estate, venture out yourself.
Yeah.
Yourself, you got... So it's now not Biggin Scott, it's not Marshall White, it's not R.T. Edgar, it's not Jealous Craig, all the biggies out there.
Carver Real Estate.
Yeah, you've gone out there as Carver Real Estate. So it's not one of the massive brands, it's not Sam with K and Will, Sam Wilkinson with K, he's great remembering names, Sam. James Fosterman and Marshall Way is another one who's great at remembering names. Me, when I go and have a look at my Saturday morning, what I call real estate porn. Rank you on Hawthorn, but it's you've decided to go out on your own, not have a big brand behind you from that perspective.
I had another life-change experience. It's probably my number 2. So number 1, of course, was my accident with the golf. Number 2 was that my marriage ended. And my marriage ended through circumstances I wasn't expecting.
Yes.
It was probably time. It was probably, it was 2 people that weren't happy, but there was a third party involved in it.
Yes, yeah.
And it was a tumultuous period because my responsibility to me, if I'm under a brand, is to do the best I can for them. And your world stops
Yes.
for any people, male or female, that go through divorce. It's all consuming. And there were 3 children, very small children involved. I had a very difficult divorce where unfortunately one side wanted the kids and them all of the money. And that's more so because the other side, there may have been someone that was affiliated with outlaw motorbike gangs as the new partner, which is the monetary side. So I saw a path and I had to move from the franchise and take a little bit of time off because my priority was my children.
Mhm.
And my reward was I got full custody of 3 kids
Yeah.
to give them a good, safe, balanced
I love
environment.
the way you said reward.
Yeah, it was my reward.
Mm.
It was. Their reward was
I also know that having done it myself,
Yes.
we've opened up.
one of the first things that connected us in conversation.
Yes, that's right. Call each other Twinny now. So it's, I'm the older twin. So it's just, that's right. But in saying that though, and I went through a period there where I look back now as a single dad with absolute fondness. At the time, it wasn't easy. I had 55 staff. I had offices at Kilda Road, lived in Donvale. It wasn't easy. But at the same time, though, it's like your brain switches to only just think of it now as. I mean, I was great. My parents loved me coming over in the weekend with the kids, and then they ran off to the park with them, and I slept on the couch. So, but I think though we look back now, I've seen you've sent me one of the videos of your daughter doing modelling and things like that. They've turned out good, your kids. So, but you look back, no matter how hard it was, you just look back with fondness that you've had that opportunity to do that.
100%. 100%. It's the little things that everyone says in life that you appreciate so much more. So I'll remember more of the experience of a gymnastics competition, or I was manager of the girls' football team, the Glen Iris Gladiators out in Kooyong. And so I had 2 girls and a boy. And so my girls were in the same team, only 13 months apart. And I had about 20 other little girls all around all at once. And our little place that we had to rent after having to sell all the houses and things for the divorce, I had 13 of them sleeping on the floor one night. And I finally got to sleep at about 4 a.m. We can't.
Sounds like they take after dad.
Yes. Those little moments there, I remember those, the experiences with the kids, more so than a multi-million dollar transaction.
Yeah.
Or holding a 20-foot putt in the last green in front of 10,000 people. Yes, they're there, but they don't make you smile the same way as these kids growing and watching them develop, and you can't replace it. So we all have that internal
That's
memory.
achievement, but that's pride with achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything. It's a monetary disassociation, which was probably the greatest sounding of me for Matt in my life is now. And it made me from those years so much more, I like to believe, of a giver. And Vanessa, my beautiful wife I have now, tells me I always try to give too much for people than I receive or expect back from them. And I'm wary of that, trying to make friends in the wrong sort of places, blurring boundaries with people. I'm a lot more focused now on the integrity of how I can be to people, being as good as I can be, but not expecting it back. If people do in time because you leave an indelible print, again, it's another form of reward, but not just because I'm lovely to someone's not going to be lovely to me. Someone that I think that could be a great friend, she tells me this all the time, well, doesn't mean they're going to be a great friend for you or them, or they might not fit, or they're not going to give or want the time that you have as well. She's been amazing. You've met Vanessa.
I have.
But
she was great. Sussed me out massively.
Yes, she did.
And decided she liked me, and I'm glad because I liked her, and we get along pretty damn well.
You do. She speaks very.
I'm talking about you and us as well.
No. She's my wife is
very cheeky.
Very cheeky. Yeah. She's towards me.
I loved all the car accidents that weren't her fault though.
Yes, no, that's not my fault. Oh yeah, that was that one.
Sorry, Vanessa.
She's an. I say to her,
she tells a great story.
She does too. She's Argentinian and Italian. For a visual for people that want to know, the TV show Modern Family, that's Sofia Vergara. She looks just like her. She's as tall. But the Argentinian I get this, and the Italian, I get this. And I need that, as do you.
Mm-hmm.
Fiery, keeps you on your toes, love life, embrace everyone and everything. I love it. I'm finally met my perfect person in my 50s, but she keeps me real. She keeps it real. She keeps life real. She keeps me grounded, but she also educates me on being aware of people.
Yeah.
Because she's very, very worldly in all her life and traveling experiences and associations as well. So,
Absolutely.
um,
So Carver Real Estate.
yes,
You actually are Carver Real Estate. You're not just a property advocate from that perspective. You have a business.
Yep.
So what different? I mean, you do work in high end. You work in anything. I suppose you haven't just got one or two postcodes you look after, but you will go out there, search. You got a reputation. People coming to you. People coming to you if they want to buy something. Here's what I want to buy. Matt, I want a house. It has to have a kitchen and a bedroom, but a 25-meter swimming pool.
I know that client.
Yeah, so I don't care. I've got a fridge. I don't think I've got anything in it.
No. Secondary.
Yeah, just give me a 25-meter swimming pool, will you?
I've found a niche in the last few years with property developers. And with property developers, if I've built a relationship with them, I will start at scratch with them. So they've got a block of dirt. Matt, what do I put here? What sort of style of property? How many bedrooms, bathrooms, fixtures, fittings? Turek, they want Wolf ovens. They want $60,000 ovens. They want everything to be. So the Armidale, Turek area has been very good for me in the last few years with new buildings.
Yeah.
And I love the development phase too. It's a passion. As I was saying to Bella before, my daughter got into architecture from watching me with architects going over building schematics and how they figure. And it just popped up this little 15-year-old and she fell in love with everything of it.
Yeah.
We do a lot of the new building. I still do a lot of residential sales. So I'll have people that will be, Matt, I've got a house in Kew. I need to sell it. I don't want the whole schmoz that everybody does. I don't want to sell someone's brand that cost me $30,000 more. Your network, find someone for me, get me this price. I just got one of these this week in Armidale for $5.5 million. Just communicating with them for a couple of years. And one of them had a life experience that was quite devastating. And I just went past with a condolence card because I knew it and I felt it. And then they turned to me 2 weeks later and said, Matt, our time, it's been in the family for 63 years. We need to sell it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that more than anything now. And like I said to you, from our Cub, a member that says one in Thornbury. I've got another one who's one of your podcast members who's got a development in Cranbourne.
Yeah.
He's like, Matt, will you go to Cranbourne? I said, I have to. You're Cub, you're one of us, you will. And it's a big, very big, multi-million dollar property.
Yes. Yep.
Absolutely. Of course I will. So it is very much still residential sort of sales and new buildings, but I like to keep my scope open for the person. I had a lady in Cub come to me and said that her daughter, she said, there's nothing monetary in it for you. My daughter's having trouble with the lease agreement that she's got in place. Would you have a look at it for her? I said, send it through.
Yeah.
I found a loophole because they were going to kick her out of the building. I said, you can't, based on clause so-and-so, that unless there's 80% vacancy on the property, the last 20% can stay until anything. And every time I walk into Cub, she keeps embracing me. This has got to diminish. This is going to create perceptions.
Oh, does that mean I have to stop?
I did say maybe.
Okay. Look, I look in the skirt.
So it's a proud business. So I like people throw out the word boutique, but I like to be hands-on. I have contractors that work for me, some staff and junior sales. But if it's people I know, I do the works. I'm a Victorian Auctioneer of the Year, all the awards and everything like that. I know how to do it. So then people feel comfortable. If I'm going to have your 26 years guide me right through the end, I'm secure. I know what's going to happen. I know what my result's going to be. And we haven't got anything this year that we've had that we have not sold in a market which has been stagnant for 18 months in Melbourne.
But it's when you talk about developers as well, you'll deal with the person who's built 3 or 4 units down in Thornbury, got the quarter-acre block and put 3 or 4 units on there and things like that, and they might not have been able to move it, and you've gone down there and got it all done for them. But these that's hard to do nowadays as well, unless you actually are a builder, because it's just so expensive to do everything nowadays. It isn't just like your 200 apartment high rise. We're talking about your 3 or 4 units that have been built on the block, and why can't I sell these, Matt?
I had a lovely guy, that story of that.
I don't know it was Thornbury, but it was down that way, I think, from memory. Preston, yeah.
Lovely guy, Zach. And he came to me. I'm very exposed on LinkedIn, about 30,000 connections. And I try not to spruik too much on LinkedIn. I like to speak of other people's works so that people can see your integrity. And he said, Matt, I've been tracking you on LinkedIn. And he said, can we have a chat? And I said, sure. And he said, look, I've got these townhouses. So your ears pricked up straight away that he wants to sell in Preston. And he's been struggling for 3 years. Now, when they have that first sentence, you think is, what's wrong with them? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Or more than anything, what's wrong with the price? It's the first thoughts. And I
You've
said,
got enough experience to know that.
yeah, you pick it up quite quickly.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I'm happy to meet you, Zach, but I don't know where Preston is. And he laughed on the phone. And he said, I heard you were very honest. So I met him, and he was building those beautiful.
Did you honestly not know where Preston was?
I had a vague idea.
Yeah, had to drive past
I
it
sound
once.
snobby, but remember, everybody, I'm from Frankston, okay? So there's not snobby. I might live at the beach now, but Frankston. I went out there, and he was building those beautiful townhouses. He'd gotten clinker bricks, and he'd mixed it with the wrought iron, and they looked gorgeous. They were 85% done. Three separate agencies over 2 years, not one sale of 6.
Yeah.
And I said to him, these are really good. And I went through his pricing and his numbers, and look, they might have been about 5% above, but nothing drastic. And he said, what do we do? And this is what I love with it now. I said, we've got to target the people that want these. I said, these are groovy. You know, people under 40 probably don't know what the word groovy means. These are really groovy. We've got to attach that client. And he said, what's that? And I said, we have to find you 25 to 35-year-olds. So I market it into different.
What's the price range of this?
About one to 1.5.
Okay, yep.
And but big, 2-story, plenty of size, and with rooftops, half a man rooftop. Well, I said we've got to target 25, 35. So I started advertising in outside marketing concepts that were relative to people that age. So we did a bit of Instagram, we did a bit of this and that, as well as your standard realestate.com. And story short, within 3.5 weeks, I'd all 6 sold.
Yeah.
He will not let me go.
Yeah.
He rings me every week. I've never paid for a meal, never paid for. He's a gorgeous young man.
Yeah.
And I want to be right. I think he's Lebanese, so the loyalty thing is very tight.
Yep.
And later this year, he's completing the most beautiful residence ever in Preston.
Yeah.
Will you sell it? Of course I will. He's also completing probably the most beautiful residence ever.
Did you know where Preston is now?
I do know where it is. I didn't know the street, but when I saw the street, and it's beautiful.
In Preston, everything's off Sussex Street.
Is it?
Yeah, that's the main street. Just everything's off Sussex Street.
And it is the most beautiful
street. So next time somebody rings you from Preston, is that off Sussex Street?
Yeah. Yes. I'm looking at something. What do you think? It's an Sussex. He's also completing the most beautiful house in Northcote, which will be a $5 million house.
Yep. Now that's right near Preston, just to let you know.
It is. It's the cool end. They told me that Richo from Richmond Football Club and Sam Pang live within the sort of street sort of thing. So I said, okay, that's all the groovers.
Mm-hmm.
I go with him and I'm helping him look at different sheets of marble or tiles, walls. No, I don't care if your architect wants to put a tree in the middle of the hallway, 2-story. That's not going to sell the property. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
We guide it later this year. Tell them for me. There's no chasing the work. There's no anything. It's what do we do? So it's a collaboration over time. And I love that. My main client was strong tied to the Jewish community, as you know.
Yeah.
83-year-old. He's been doing it for 50 years. And I've done 7 buildings for him in 10 years. Now, if you screw up one building while through the path, whether it be in design or the sales process, you don't get them sold. You're out. Yeah. You're gone. No matter how good you are at what you've done, you're out.
Yep.
Never missed a beat with him. He's 83, sell them. So I love the repeat clients that just pick up the phone and say, Matt, we need your help. And that's Carver Real Estate. That's what we're about. That's what we do. I saw you sold that. My friend, my sister, my brother. You know, I've had people come and say they got a house in Malvern and they can come and have a look at it. Are you talking to 3 other agents or 4 other agents? Oh, yeah, we've got 4 booked up. I'm not your guy. I'm sure there'll be someone in that, but I don't want to undersell what I provide because someone's going to say something about a commission or advertising. You actually get me. Now, none of those are going to be able to offer you me and my skill set. None of them are going to see, you're going to see a director, like you were saying before now, and then you've got no expense, no disregard, a junior on the door that just hands out brochures.
Yeah.
And when the market tightens as it has now, experience thrives. But I get a lot of resumes now from the kids because it's not flying at these large brand industries and they're getting cold. They're getting cold because it's not the work.
Yes.
So unless you, like I did, knock on doors to start out and make your way,
Yep.
there's no more hand feeding in real estate. And that's experience and strong skill sets survive and do well.
So I can see the gentleman who was born in the late 60s, like myself. Um, yes, so I was 2 weeks before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so it's 2 weeks before. So I saw man land on the moon.
You actually saw?
Well, maybe not. But I was born 2 weeks before man landed on the moon. But from that perspective, you see the young kid who's determined, who wouldn't take no for an answer, would just do it and do it and do it, who would sleep at the clubhouse and eat Mars bars all day. I could eat Mars bars all day, I think. So
I did get some work done on the teeth.
yeah, okay.
There's a fair bit of sugar.
Yeah, so to the skinny little kid who won the Victorian Amateur Championships with 7 clubs, and no coach, to all the way through to devastating, absolutely devastating accident that was not your fault at all, but absolutely ended what could have been an unbelievable career, into developing into this man I see in front of me who's had an unbelievable career, just in a different industry, not swinging a golf club. Yeah, so it's which I'm sure you still could do, but not to the level. But you're still very healthy and fit. You still work out every day, I believe.
Oh, no. 4 to 5. I'm 118 kilos. A couple of pizzas have slipped in there, but I still try to, because if we keep ourselves healthy now, at our vibrant years that we're at now.
So when you're at your best looking, ripped, what are you coming in at?
I'd love to be about 105, 108.
Okay, yes. There's a couple of pizzas.
Yeah.
Yes, but in saying that though, of your Vanessa is very fit and healthy herself, yeah, and is a personal trainer also. And I did see that recipe what she cooked
Cooks
yesterday.
amazing food.
I can tell.
It's all there's protein in everywhere.
There is protein in absolutely everything. So it's but from that perspective, you can see the child who's become the man. And and having not met your children, but the way you speak about them, you can see how the influence that you've had on them too. I mean, you raised them, so the influence you've had on them too. So it is interesting how sometimes something devastating happens at a young age, and you think it's going to be the end of the world. It's just the next chapter.
Part of the process.
It's just the next chapter. Going through that horrendous, devastating divorce. How horrible it was and how emotional it was. It's just the next chapter.
Yeah. I think the key for all of us is, and I'm not Shirley MacLaine, I think we're here once, is to make the most of that opportunity. Do I have my lazy moments? Do I have my time out? Absolutely. Of course I do.
Yeah. But you are a hard worker in the gym. I've seen it. I mean, you don't get the physique you get by not working hard in the gym. And you do like to wear the shorty shorts, but you got the physique to get away with
That's
it.
all I can get in. That's all I get into. They're the extra larges. And they're still tight around the quads.
Yes.
And that's a lesson for everyone too. I've had 4 knee reconstructions, all from that accident.
Yeah.
I still squat heavy weights.
Very much you do. Yeah.
Proper technique, proper work. And like we were saying before, there's no excuses. There's the busy person that says, I can't take care of my health for half an hour a day. Bullshit. Yeah. Yes, you can. The convenience food's easier for me. I know that many people that work more hours are probably that person that on a Sunday prep food, prep meals, whatever. It's a choice.
Yeah.
And I think when everybody's healthy and fit, it's easy to go, it'll be okay. But then when you get to our age bracket now, and if there's been a few bang-ups around with the body and stuff as well.
A few aches and pains.
You will. Proactive. You've got to be proactive because we want to have the best next 30, 35 years that we possibly can. If I could put that into the younger ones as it was now, sounding like that, I'm very proud I've got 6 staff of mine that walked in my door without knowing a single thing about real estate and now own their own real estate offices. Six of them. So they're more kids, if you will. And it was that same thing I said as I'm saying now is there's no easy way. No one's going to gift it to you. And even if they gift it to you, you probably screw it up because you've got to either learn the performance schedule requirements of what is going to make you into something, and then you've got to find your niche. So like you're saying, with the gym, do I walk in the gym and feel proud that I'm probably the biggest guy in the gym? Absolutely, I do. But it also makes me train harder. So I channel it back in. It puts more into it. Do I feel better if I've gone 3 or 4 days eating beautiful food than sitting at the buffet? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You still got to have your enjoyments. It's all disciplines. Everything comes to the disciplines that you're willing to take on board to make your career. And I think it's probably dropped away a bit in the last sort of 10 years. And it's been very difficult for this generation because of COVID and the like. I had my youngest going through school and struggling with all that sort of stuff to be able to find that path in life. And he's doing very well now. But no one's going to make you successful except for yourself. How you make yourself successful is doing more than the person beside you or more than the person that wants the exact same goals that you do. You've got to be. So when I was, playing with Tiger Woods, I had to play better than Tiger Woods. If I was playing with Robert Allen, it had to be better. If I wanted to show these personal trainers how to run a business when it first sort of started, I had to show them how to do it better if it was my own module. You've got to lead, and you've got to lead by example. You'll make the best out of yourself that you possibly can rather than just expecting it to be given. Everyone's got an ability to be a leader inside them, make the best of themselves. It's just whether they will actually apply themselves and do it.
Yeah, it's actually taking action. I've always said whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, and enthusiastically act upon must inevitably come to pass. And it's a quote by Paul J. Meyer. It's not my quote, but it's it's true. So it's having a vision without action is nothing. No, having a dream without going and picking up the phone and doing it. I mean, my very first large client, and you talk about, Jill. She was a new chapter in your life. By you signing up Jill to every membership and her giving you a call late at night. But she actually picked up the phone. How many people would do that? She actually made the effort to pick up the phone, but I picked up the phone and cold called the CFO of a very large, prestigious law firm, predominantly Victorian based. And I rang him and he took the call. That was a bonus to start with.
Mhm.
And I said, I'm ringing you about the firm's corporate superannuation fund. And he said, it's about time you guys called me back. And I just paused. I said, sorry about that. Sorry about the delay. So it was just like, because I said, it's Tony Kofkin here from National Mutual. Well, it's about time you guys actually called me back. And I was just like, okay. So he put a call through to head office and nobody called him back. Picked up the phone, $50 million.
You get a free lead.
Yeah, my first ever large corporate super fund.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's I'd ring head office and said, "What is this?" And I got an expert from head office down to help me out. But it was more the fact of that it's just that pregnant pause. I was 22 years old, and it really is what set me up because it was just asking the question. And as Dad said, ask the question, but ask it politely. It's and I think sometimes it's a case of that. I've often said a decent salary can actually make a man lazy. In other words, well, I've got enough to pay. Yeah, I've got enough to pay the mortgage. I've got enough to pay the school fees. I'm doing okay. I go home. Wife or husband like me. Life is okay. But it's sometimes you have other people, and I think sport has a lot to do with it. I mean, for me, it was a case of, God, I'd love to sleep in today, but my competition is training. So we had Grant Hackett on the podcast. We actually got Michael Klim coming up when I come back from overseas as well.
Michael. Wonderful man.
Lovely, lovely man. But Grant was just unbelievable. So it's I thought I was focused, but I was nothing like that. So it's but he spoke about one of the things I remember actually when I was over in LA with him last year. But he actually spoke about a relay team has 4 people. And his silver medal was because of one of those 4. There were 3 people in that relay team. And those 3 people are all potential gold, silver, or bronze medalists, all definitely finalists. And I won't mention the event because people start looking it up. Yeah, so it's and he said, so all 3 of us, including Michael Klim, were 9 or 10 out of 10s. But we had that one team member who was a 4 out of 10. That's why we have a silver medal. In saying that, though, that 4 out of 10, that person who was a 4 out of 10 was the 4th best person in Australia.
So that was it.
Well, they didn't just say, Tony, are you free?
I was like,
I can assure you they did. So I was probably a 1 out of 10, so even compared to the 4 out of 10. But it's more than it wasn't my event either, but I still was a 1 compared to them. But that's the difference. So he said, it's not a case of that he was a bad swimmer,
no.
but he was the 4th best swimmer in Australia. That's why he had that spot. But he might have been ranked 32nd in the world.
Yep.
So and that's the difference between the 9 out of 10s and 4 out of 10s. But what he was talking about was put that into the sales team. If you've got bonuses that are shared across the team,
Mhm.
what is the inspiration for that 4 out of 10 to become a 9 out of 10? Or what is the inspiration for the 9 out of 10 to work as hard as possible for the 4 out of 10 to get the same bonus?
Yeah.
And that's what he's talking about because he runs Generation Life now. So he has a lot in his sales team into BDMs. But that's what he was talking about is will the 9 out of 10s bring the 4 out of 10 up to their level, or will they be dragged down to that level? And that's where the leadership thing comes into it, but also the passion and the desire of that individual to go out and just do it and get the stuff done. And don't get me wrong, we all have lazy days. My alarm did go off at 5 this morning and I closed my eyes and to meditate and woke up at 7:30. I did not meditate for 2.5 hours.
It's a very deep meditation.
It was not. It was very deep. Might have been snoring involved in that meditation. But, it's that case of, well, I've got nothing to do tonight, so I'm going to go home and I've got the gym in my garage, as you know, so
Yes.
I'm just going to hit it there. So I've got that luxury. But I think it is that case of that determined young boy became that successful man no matter what you did.
I'd like to think so.
Well, okay, from an observer who knows you very well now, so it's the golf door chapter that ended, okay, in tragic circumstances, and your life could have taken tragic circumstances from that as well. You could have,
Many did.
absolutely. Well, just people who don't make it
Just don't come back.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it's the trauma that what happened, number one, but sometimes people who don't make it, just the trauma of wanting to go of the could have been champion, so things like that. That wasn't you. Then PT, an opportunity which you're great at, an opportunity to arrive in the real estate that you're great at. Your marriage ended. You raised your kids who have all done and doing really well. And you've got a beautiful wife. So it doesn't seem to matter who punches you in the face. You stand up and say, well, what's the next opportunity?
Yeah.
So it's,
You have to do it no matter what for that one life that we've got. And that's where people have choices. And I very much empathise with people that were in that car accident that I was that, kept in touch with a few over the years sporadically, and a couple of them just never came back. Whether it was drug addiction or alcohol or even suicide. There was one that committed suicide. And then there's the family members of those that actually died in it as well.
Yeah. And there's the hundreds of people that have flow-on effect have been affected as well, who were the spouses, partners, siblings of people who are in that accident.
It affects broadly, but you then have to decide, and I would love to have had a lot of opportunity for psychotherapy at the time, which I didn't really sort of get. You've then got to decide, well, is that the end of me? Is that my life? Is my life going to be done in my 20s and never recover? My father was probably was an incredibly gifted man, but he fell that way and he fell into the bottle sort of stuff. So we've always been prevalent in gambling. My mum, the wide World of Sports replay on Sundays used to come on, World of Sport replay, the horse race. And I remember as a kid, my mum crying because my dad's gambling, lost the house and everything. This is why she got divorced and everything like that. So then she
Otherwise, she would have had a successful business and they still would have all been going and gambling and alcohol.
could have disappearing. And then she still, from her circumstances, made something incredible out of herself that she's happy enough, which she's done in her life. And we only get that one chance again. And something may happen tomorrow, but then it's what you do with it after it that sets your course. And as I said, I'm lucky to have great people around me now, which I didn't have back in those sort of days, but I'm ready for it if it should happen again, because then it's just a matter of getting straight back up and doing it all over again.
Matt, on behalf of our listeners, this has been wonderful.
Thank you.
I do love the friendship that we have formed,
Yes.
and I sincerely thank you for coming in. And Vanessa, thank you for letting him come in.
Thank you,
As well.
Tony.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Tom.
Go Bombers.
Nah, kind of books.
The Kofkin Bond podcast is a product from Kofkin Bond and Company, which we are an authorized representative of Count Financial. All information in this podcast is for education and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional, finance, legal, or tax advice. The hosts of the Kofkin Bond podcast are not aware of your personal financial circumstances. Before making any financial decision, you should read the product disclosure statement and, if necessary, consult a licensed financial professional. Do not take financial advice from the podcast. For more information, head to the disclaimer page on the Kofkin Bond website, or you can find resources on the ASIC website and find a registered financial professional near you. In the spirit of reconciliation, Kofkin Bond & Co. and the hosts of the Kofkin Bond podcast acknowledge the traditional custodians of the country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people today.